Welcome to Jill on Money, powered by The Compound. We are here talking about whatever's going on in your financial life or your real life, anything that touches your money. Are you thinking about a big change? Has a milestone occurred? A life event, a birth, a death, divorce, marriage, anything like that? We're recording this, and it is before the Super Bowl, and I just thought that that, of course, made me think about Taylor and Travis. Mark, are you at all interested in this? Is Mark Talercio.
Are you kidding me? No.
Mark Talercio is my co-host and executive producer. He's also a certified financial planner. Huge fan of the NFL.
I love watching the NFL, yes.
Why are you not into this whole subplot? It's so much fun.
I could not care less.
Oh, my God.
I have far more important things to occupy my mind with.
I think it's fun. I like how people are getting pissed off about it. And like, I just find it amusing. Anyway, it's the reason why I was thinking about it today is that I was writing an article about couples and money, if you will. And sometimes we have on this program this a combination of couples who come on the air together. It's always interesting to me. That's like a fun way to actually bring people and allow them to talk about what's on their mind, what's not on their mind. And recently we've talked to a number of people where one person in the couple, it used to be like, oh, she or he spends too much money. But now a lot of people, as they approach retirement, have a hard time taking money out and spending the money they've accumulated. So if you find yourself in that situation, go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. Let us know if we can help you out. Maybe we can negotiate. We could also do a side hustle of couples therapy.
Well, we have a lot of couples that have a lot of financial, I wouldn't say issues, but situations that need to be addressed.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And by the way, we're very non-judgmental when it comes to that about your money or anything. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to have huge problems. Whatever's going on, let us know. Again, JillOnMoney.com. That is our website. All of our content lives there. Today, we have a visitor from Georgia, and his name is Dave. Hey, Dave, what's going on, man?
Hi, guys. Good to see you.
Good to see you. What brings you to us, sir?
Well, I've had a milestone. I'm recently retired and trying to make the adjustment in both cash flow and mindset from, getting a paycheck and business income for years and decades and saving as much as you can and investing for growth to flipping that script and figuring out how to squeeze income out of my nest egg sufficiently. I've never been much of an income investor, and I could use some help. I don't have a financial planner. I am our financial guy. So I need some tips, need some help.
All right. So you said a we. Who's the we, Dave?
It's my wife, Melissa, and myself.
Uh-huh. And how old are you guys?
We are 62 and 67.
Which is you?
I'm 62.
Uh-huh. And she's 67. Is she also retired, or is she working still?
She is. No, we had our own business. So we have retired the business this year.
Oh my God. Okay. So now we're talking about a whole different level of mindset shift. That's a lot. So what was the process for you guys? Were you able to sell? Is this a business that relied so much on you, you just had to essentially shut it down? Like, what happened?
The latter, yeah, it really relied more on my wife. She was the brains of the operation.
As usually is the case.
It's so true, Jill. Mm-hmm. And there was unfortunately nothing. It was a service business. We were in the recruiting. We had a recruiting agency. So there was really no assets to sell. No, we just ramped it down. It was a slow ramp. We tried to do it originally in 2020, but it's a very slow ramp. Clients kept calling back and needed a little bit of help. So we did that, but now it's officially official.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on for you guys financially.
Well,
I love this guy.
Trying to hold off on taking our Social Security. It's been our understanding that it's very beneficial to hold off until you're 70 years old, if you
Definitely.
can. So we're doing that, and we have enough to bridge the gap We do have 3 rental properties. So the cornerstone of our income now is rental income.
All right, hold on, stop. I'm
And
going to stop you for 1 second. So 3 rental properties.
Mhm.
Do you want to give us like together they're worth blankety blank, or do you want to go property by property? It's up to you.
Let's say altogether we are at roughly a million, maybe.
In equity
What?
or
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
market value.
Market value. Yeah, it's a little over a mil.
Okay. And do you guys have outstanding mortgages on these properties?
We do not.
Oh my God. So how much are they cash flowing?
They are cash flowing roughly 40,000 a year.
Okay. And
Net
each, or you mean all together?
altogether.
Okay, got it. So you got $1 million of fair market value, cash flowing 40 grand a year. Is it a pain in the neck to manage these things?
You know something? 2 of them are long-term rentals, which are a piece of cake, and we dipped our toe into the short-term rental market. That's a little bit of a pain, but in the big scheme, it's not
Okay.
manageable.
Okay. Cash on hand. Give me that number.
Cash on hand, roughly 50,000.
Okay. And money that is in investments that have been taxed already. So a taxable brokerage account.
That is roughly 1.5 mil.
And you're managing that. So is that mostly all equities, you say?
Primarily, yeah, it
Okay.
really is. A few small bond funds, but not
Okay.
much.
And what about retirement accounts? What about those accounts for you guys?
Retirement accounts, and I apologize, Jill. Almost all of our brokerage accounts are retirement accounts.
Okay.
We
So of
have
that,
about
you mean of that 1.5 million, most of it is in retirement?
it is maybe 150 in a taxable.
Okay. So 150, but
sorry.
then 1.35 is retirement.
Yes,
Okay. And of that retirement, those are pre-tax accounts, not Roth accounts?
correct. I did not do enough Roth investing. I wish I had. It's mostly traditional IRAs and SEPs.
Well, when you guys were running a business, SEP was like the golden plan. So I understand that. So I got the cash, I got the brokerage. What about your primary residence? How much is that worth?
We just bought that, and we are at about 700,000. We do have a small mortgage on that of 250.
And what's the interest rate?
A little teeny bit over 6.
Okay, like Mark. 6-ish, I'll call it. Do you guys have kids that are grown and or pets that are ripe?
We have one one grown daughter, yeah, and she's doing great and off the payroll. Yep.
Fantastic. And how much do you figure that you guys need just to spend, or what you'd like? Not even need. What would you like?
We're simple folk, but nevertheless, in this day and age, I would say that number comes in around 110K a year.
Can't we just say 120 so I can make it even 10 grand a
You're
month?
probably
Why
right.
not?
That sounds
come
easier.
on. When you look at your Social Security benefits, so your wife is 67, you're 62. If she were to claim at 70, what would her benefit be?
Oof. I don't know that number offhand, Jill. If I'm going to spitball, I'm going to say 2,500.
I bet it's more. How much were you guys making at the end?
We were probably making about 200 together. That was our AGI.
All right. No, there will be no side hustles for you at this point, right?
Not in the immediate future. Maybe down the road, but right now, no. Let's for the sake of this conversation, let's say no.
Okay. Mark, do you want to pop in and ask more questions at this point?
I don't have any more questions. I've just been playing with the numbers.
Oh, geez. Poor Mark just can't help but being the geek that he is. So, Mark, how do the numbers look?
I mean, if they need $120,000 a year, based on what they have right now, it's a little short.
So, what's the remedy, man?
Well, they have a lot of real estate equity.
I mean, 40 grand on $1 million of equity is not a lot.
It's not a lot.
That's what jumped out to me.
It's like 4%.
So, I mean, okay, it's all right, but how, like that short-term rental that you're like, it's not so great. What's that property worth?
That property is worth roughly, I will tell you here, I would say, the market says about 416.
And there's no mortgage outstanding.
Correct.
I need that money. Is there a short-term capital gain on that?
A tiny one. We've only had it a couple of years.
Okay, so there's a
So,
small
tiny
gain
one.
on that one.
Yeah.
And in your brokerage account, any losses or all gains? The 150.
I would say all gains.
Mark, I want to sell that short-term one. What do you think? I want that 400 to go into the brokerage account. I want there to be 550 there. And the reason why we are looking at this and feeling somewhat worried is that, you're retired. I get it. And I get that, closing a business down is hard. But we're looking at 3 decades of financing in the future. That is a lot of living to do. And so I think there are a couple of different ways to think about this. Your primary residence, you want to stay there. That's like your forever house, right?
Yes.
So, if I had the $1 million, just pretend there was no tax liability, and I took the $1 million, Mark, if I put the $1 million into the brokerage, and now instead of having 150, now he's got 1.15 million in the brokerage, 1.35 in the retirement. How do you feel now about, and then let's just say, we don't have that cash flow, right? But we'll get $5,000 a month. We'll get about $5,000 to $6,000 a month from from Social Security. Now, how do you feel about this?
I feel better because, you're not going to be pulling out of that for the foreseeable future. We just got to get to Social Security.
Exactly. So how do we get to Social Security? That's really the question. To get to Social Security, we need access to money. But we also need money to keep growing. So ideally, what would happen now is that, and you can, frankly, it's very easy to run these numbers yourself. You can go through a retirement What's that retirement calculator you like, Mark? That
this one?
No, not that one. The Kantrowitz. What's his Kotlowitz?
Oh yeah. Well, they've changed names so many times over the past few
But anyway,
years.
you'll run calculations and it'll show you that, hey, you know what would work really great, Dave? If you and your wife could make some money for 5 years. Like we could give, if you could get some income over the next 3 to 5 years, I think that would be a huge, huge, huge benefit. So what I would say is this. I think that, first of all, get clarity on what your Social Security benefit will be at age 67 and then at age 70. That's number one and number two. Then I think you guys need to really think about whether or not it makes sense to sell these rental properties, have access to the money, unless you think you're just under market on your rents and that you could really, it wouldn't be 40 grand a year. It's really more like, we love our renters, but, if we really were at 60, it looks a lot better. 60, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe.
That would
That's
help.
a little bit of it. Yeah.
You
I've gotten in trouble by undercharging people for rent. My wife has got me a few times. I hate squeezing people.
Well, you're not. So here's a question. Do you want to squeeze them or do you want to squeeze you? That's the name of this episode. Squeeze me or squeeze you?
Sounds fun.
Yeah, exactly. But you get where I'm saying?
Absolutely.
How do you guys feel? You've just done this. So, I feel like it's tough to gear yourself up again. But could you, you're young. Is there something that you think you could do as a side hustle for the two of you?
Oh, I the word retirement, I use that word loosely because, I think there's another chapter for me. I don't know exactly what it is yet. Yeah, absolutely. I am open to that or doing something on my own, a little entrepreneurship of some flavor. I just figured with this nest egg and these brokerage accounts, surely we can get enough dividends somehow, some way.
Yeah, the problem is that you can get either dividends or appreciation, right? You can get interest, dividends, appreciation. And right now on $1.5 million, just like back of the envelope, one nice thing to think about is I could have a safe withdrawal rate. I'm a wimp. So some people use 4%. I use more like 3.5% or 3%. But if you said 4% and you had every $1 million, you can have 40 grand, right? You could take it out and it would still last you. But remember, 1.35 of your money hasn't been taxed yet. So it's not 1.35. It's 1, right? It's really 1 to you. So, I mean, I think that if you're looking at having expenses of 10 grand a month, then we have to be cognizant of the fact that before you get to Social Security, we might blow through a lot of this money. And I think that's what you're raising, right, Mark? That if we were closer to Social Security, you'd feel more comfortable.
Yeah, either that or they reduce the monthly nut. The
Uh-oh.
monthly nut. I don't know, I don't know if that's doable or not. 10 grand a month. It's how bad do you want it?
Yeah. I mean, but if you have another chapter in you and you and your wife both feel like a side hustle is something that's doable, then I think this becomes a lot easier. But your problem isn't, I mean, yes, should you have some bonds in your portfolio? Sure, absolutely. But that's not the issue. I want to not touch that $1.35 million for at least 5 or 6 years. I need that to grow.
Oh, I just think of that 1 million in equity, and I think if that had been in the market in
stop
a year
it.
like last year.
I know, but it wasn't in the market when it was the year before when we lost.
Yeah, I know, but 40 grand a year for me is not enough.
Well, it's not enough out of an illiquid asset. That's
No.
what I would say. I need to get paid more to take on the risk and the pain in the ass part of it. So that's just me. But look, I think it is worthwhile running through these numbers. And by the way, I know you're your own financial advisor. It might not be the worst thing in the world for you guys to run through a financial plan with somebody who's fee only, pay someone $5 grand or whatever it is going to be to get some semblance of a plan together and see what the options are, or for you to do that yourself. Now you're retired. Now you can do it yourself. But I do think there's a gap here, and I'm a nervous Nelly. So is Mark. So our job here is to just outline you're a nervous Nelly also. Our job is to just outline hey, it could work if everything goes right, but that's not what we do.
I mean, you've got about 80,000 of pretty solid income right now each year, but you need 120.
Right. So 80 is a little bit different than 120. And I don't know where 40 is coming from. Maybe 40 is all your fun. And I don't want to cut all your fun out, right? So if it's 20 is all your fun, and you can say, it's not 120 a year, Jill, it's really 100, and we can really live with that. And we're both going to make 25 grand doing something fun, then the numbers are going to work great.
Or you can even pull a little bit more out of those accounts, and knowing that you're only going to do it until your Social Security kicks in.
Right. But even then, I like having the money working for you as long as possible. The corpus of the investment, the body of your investment being at work for you as long as possible is the best is the best outcome. But, like Mark said, you could take some of it out. But right now, even if I took money out of the pre-tax account, and yes, it is fine, you'll take it out, you'll be at a low tax bracket. You just can't take out a lot of money. Can't be taking out 100 grand a year out of that, clearing your 8. Is there a state income tax in Georgia?
Yes, there is.
So if you're taking 100 out to pay your bills, and let's say as is, you have your 40, you need to take 100 out. You're going to get 75 out of that. You got your 75 plus the 40, and now you pay for your stuff, right? But when I pull 100 grand a year for the next, 5 years out of this account, that's a lot of money to take out of the game. It really is.
Right.
I don't want to bum you out, man. I feel bad now. Mark, make him feel better.
It's nothing I didn't already know. We've had these conversations, my wife and I, already, and that's particularly about that one rental property. And it's just a matter of finding something better to do with that equity. Mark, you're saying you'd rather have seen it in the market growing. As opposed to
well, if you're only getting 40 grand a year, I would rather have it in the market. But that's just me, I mean, if you can increase the rent, if you can get more in rent and then sell that one property to kind of offset that loss, and then you'll have that money freed up, that could be the answer.
Yeah, exactly. So let's have a conversation with the wife. Let's have a discussion, and let's put pen to paper, and you guys start to figure out what exactly the next few years can look like for you. Meanwhile, let me ask a completely random question. You're a recruiter. Give us 3 huge mistakes that people make when they're doing Zoom interviews with companies.
3 huge mistakes. Boy. I guess it's a tough thing to say. I was on the operations side of the business, so I didn't do the direct recruiting, but I guess basically being an active listener and really answering questions on point would be one thing. Underselling their skills is a common one, and just not doing enough proactive listening. And
It's not a ring light that's going to be the beginning or the end of it. All right. Listen, we wish you the best of luck. Stay in touch and let us know how this goes. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks,
All right. We
guys.
really
Appreciate it.
appreciate you coming on. Hey, are you thinking about this transition period? It is very hard. And even if you're in your 50s and you want to be talking about this, are you a small business owner? And you're like Dave and his wife, and you really there's no takeout. It's you winding your business down. What can you do leading up to it so that you can put yourself in a better financial position with more options? We'd love to hear from you. Go to jillonmoney.com, click the contact us button. We will get your note. While you're on the website, don't forget you can sign up for the free weekly newsletter, and you can buy my book, The Great Money Reset. It's out in paperback. How great is that? Thank you so much to our friends here at the Compound who generously created this beautiful studio just for us. Okay, they have a lot of other shows, and their shows are great, so check that out. Duncan and Daniel are in the studio today, and they have put this beautiful production together, and we remind you to put your hands metaphorically on someone's back. Someone needs a little bit of love. Maybe it's someone close to you, someone distant, doesn't matter. Do something, okay? Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next week.